In the 72 hours following that incident, 95% of the coverage from ABC, CBS, and NBC was negative. Brent Bozell joins me now. Brent, I find that shocking. The man nearly lost his life, and they go at him.
There was only one CBS report that featured only one Trump supporter that said something nice about Donald Trump. I want to give you some numbers here, and you think that's shocking? Have you seen the new Scott Rasmussen poll? 28% of Democrats believe that the world would have been better off if Trump had been killed. 24% aren't sure. 51% don't believe he should get any more security. 49% believe Trump himself was involved in the assassination or his campaign. 21% are very likely believers in that.
Verbal or life.
So what now? They are alleging there's actually an assassination team out to get Trump. It's crazy out there. Welcome to Verbal on Life. My name is Noel. Battling MS, still moving my fingers and being able to walk and talk. In this clip, we're going to take a look at Jesse Waters, Primetime, talking about all the attempts, or at least two of the attempts, that they already tried on Trump. It is crazy. Let's see if they're going to have more with an assassination team of 5 groups. That's crazy. All right. So let's take a look at the clip. And remember to hit that like button before you go anywhere to get the word out. Okay? Press on the like button.
Primetime tonight.
This is likely where the suspect parked his car. This is the actual area where the suspect entered, the exact spot where the suspect bag was found.
The Trump assassin. There's much more to the story.
By a violent radical left mobster.
But, you know, if you can afford a boat, you're not hurting so bad, right?
Listen, nobody gave me I earned everything that I've got.
Why the media is ashamed of the American dream.
Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry.
Hey, white dudes. So I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem.
DEI Thursday is back. Plus,
I would take a bullet for Donald Trump, so it don't even matter.
Wow.
Fox News alert. We finally got our hands on the mugshot of Donald Trump's second assassin, Ryan Ruth, sporting a sickening smirk just hours after he dropped his rifle and scampered away from Secret Service gunfire. Last night on Long Island, Donald Trump seemed genuinely humbled.
As you know, 3 days ago, there was yet another assassination attempt on my life. I didn't know I was going to say that. It was the second one in 8 weeks by a violent radical left mobster. This evil would-be assassin got within a few hundred yards of where I stood, but thankfully, our outstanding Secret Service agent, and they are outstanding, spotted the barrel of his rifle in the bushes. Can you believe that? God has now spared my life. It must have been God. Thank you.
Whoa.
Not once, but twice.
God was watching because new photos from inside the sniper's nest show just how close of a call this was. If Trump had made it to the 6th green, this would have been Ruth's line of sight. That's an even easier shot than what Thomas Crooks had in Butler. Here's exactly what Ryan Ruth did. Watch this.
This is likely where the suspect parked his car, and he went into the bushes right there. I'm approaching where the suspect went into the bushes.
Whoa.
This is the actual site right here. This is the actual area where the suspect entered the bushes. This is the area, exact spot where the suspect.
And they say the guy got there like at midnight and just slept there, brought snacks, brought his gun, and was there the whole night until the next day when he got discovered. That's crazy. Let's go clocking.
Bag was found with the rifle. You right onto the golf course. There's a flag right there.
Secret Service knew about this gaping hole, did nothing. Whistleblowers say agents should normally have been there.
There are known vulnerabilities at that course. That is, areas where you can get a clear line of sight from off the course of people playing the course, if that makes sense. So it has been Secret Service protocol to station agents at these known sites before Trump would play the course. That apparently didn't happen. It sounds as if they didn't even sweep the perimeter. I mean, this is really strange.
The whole thing is strange. And the more we look into this assassin's history, the stranger it gets. Ryan Ruth doesn't have the typical resume of an assassin. His father was a chemist from a good college who had a long career at Sherwin-Williams. The family was at church every Sunday. Ruth's two siblings went on to be a banker and a lawyer. Ruth was described as a super citizen in the local paper. A local police organization named him the Citizen of the Year after he saved a woman from a rapist.
Wow.
He told the paper in town, quote, "He punched me. He was a pretty strong fella, kind of short but strong. When he hit me, I grabbed hold of him. He shook free from me and took off running." Trump's assassin has gotten an unusual amount of publicity his entire life. Local papers were even writing about Ruth's miracle and dream home renovations. Today, locals say Ruth was living with debris everywhere and doors were nearly falling. "I can't believe anyone could have lived in that house," one local realtor said. His neighbor said his house was a zoo.
Only thing I seen, they had a horse in the house. I mean, a whole live horse in the house. But they were, kind of weird, but, they didn't bother me. I didn't bother them, like I said.
How do you mean a horse in the house?
A horse, a whole live horse.
In the house or in the outbuilding?
In the house where the living room is at. The daughter, Sarah, put hay all in there and the big old live horse.
That's crazy. And whatever Jesse found, man, the Secret Service got to know way more in the FBI.
So how the Citizen of the Year with a nice house and a good family turned into an assassin living in a barn with more felonies than money in his bank account? Ruth couldn't even afford child support. Primetime looked into it, and he was always behind on payments to his ex, always. She even agreed to terminate the support due to his financial situation. Ruth sold his house in North Carolina for $174,000 and then was also living in an $800,000 bungalow in Hawaii. How does a man with no money for child support suddenly start living in a pricey house in Hawaii and afford flights to Taiwan, Turkey, Poland, Ukraine?
Crazy.
His neighbors say sometimes they wouldn't see him for 3 years.
He was gone like 3 years before then, they was calling and asking me and, check on the house. Yeah. Yeah. It was cool with me. Yeah. He brought me a shirt, like I said, from Hawaii and all when it came and all. Thank you for watching the house and gave me a hug for you.
You know what he's doing in Hawaii? Working out there?
He's the girlfriend. She posted something about a Victoria's Secret person, supervisor or manager or something. And that's why they were traveling. He had been in Europe, something over there too. That's what they said.
Wow.
The house in Hawaii Ryan was living with is connected to his fiancée, Kathleen Schaefer. Kathleen worked at Victoria's Secret. She's engaged to this guy who all of a sudden flies to Ukraine for months, and she's fine with that. As we reported last night, Ruth spent 8 months sleeping in Ukrainian military barracks, and he was rubbing elbows with cold-blooded killers.
Some of the people he claimed to be interacting with were, some high-ranking military figures, various people in the, what I recall would be best described as like Ukrainian mafia, some of the people that had connections with local government to try to get things done or to help him, further what seemed to me to be scams and cons.
One would expect that the government is keeping track of these people that are going to places like Ukraine or overboard to the Middle East. And just why? Just monitoring these people.
Why would you leave your fiance, who just lost her job at Victoria's Secret, to fly to Ukraine to recruit Muslim militants to fight Russia? And if you have $68 in your bank account, how are you spending thousands on airfare? How are you even feeding yourself in Ukraine? And everywhere he goes, he gets press, from the local papers to the New York Times to Newsweek. And every time he's arrested, he gets a pass. He's been charged with 100 different counts, and he's never served a day in jail. How's that possible?
Whoa.
And after spending months with Ukrainian mobsters and scaring the bejesus out of everybody connected with him, he was flagged to the FBI, the State Department, and Homeland Security. But they all dropped the investigation. And he shows up to the president's golf course in a car with stolen plates and a loaded rifle with a scratched off serial number. And no one's curious if Ryan Ruth was sent here on a mission to kill. And no one's located his fiance. It's not that hard to find somebody in Hawaii. And the Biden-Harris administration stonewalling. They won't even let Florida investigators into the crime scene.
We were rebuffed. Our investigators were rebuffed just going to the fence line outside of Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. And so I think they've taken the position, they don't want the state of Florida to be involved in this.
What are they hiding? How do we not know there's more Ryan Roos or Thomas Crooks out there? How do we not know?
And now they're saying that there's 3 other assassination teams going up against Trump. Allegedly, it's what they're saying in the news. But here goes 2.
Today, an Alaska man was charged for threatening 6 Supreme Court justices. He donated heavily to Democrats. Guess which 6 justices he was targeting? He then told them, we need mass assassinations. If you're corrupt, you're corrupt. Now, this comes on the heels of another Democrat who traveled across the country and showed up outside of Kavanaugh's house with a gun and zip ties. Remember him? He was arrested, and we've never heard another word about him. And instead of investigating what's behind these assassination attempts, what's fueling them, how they're being put together, the media is blaming Trump for people wanting to kill him. The left think Trump's more of a threat than armed assassins.
Crazy.
Do you think it's time for Democrats to stop calling Trump a threat to democracy?
No, I think we should be clear that he is a threat to democracy.
The fact of the matter is that he is a threat to democracy.
Do you think it's time for Democrats to stop calling Trump a threat to democracy?
Listen, these are the facts. He is a threat. Period. Point blank. Democrats have never endorsed political violence, but he will go to a rally and he will endorse it. This is the equivalent of playing with a loaded gun and then it backfiring on you.
Democrats are saying Trump's playing Russian roulette, that 45's on a suicide mission and no one really can do anything about it. We just found out who the real threat is. Trump transition team member and former presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. Do you understand this guy going to Ukraine, getting flagged to all of these federal agencies who just look the other way, and he shows up to the golf club with with a rifle loaded with a scope? How does that make sense?
It doesn't. It doesn't, Jesse. There are so many questions. I mean, you just laid out a very clear picture of how many questions there are and how this was allowed to occur. This guy's history. There's a whole slew of questions around the assassin in Butler, Pennsylvania. I think it is a huge disservice to our democracy and to the American people that still we haven't gotten a clear account of exactly what happened and what went down that led to the shooter almost taking President Trump's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. And as you've pointed out, it looks like they are slow rolling and trying to hide the truth from the American people on this one. You know, President Trump's resilience and focus in the face of this unprecedented 2 attempts on his life where he has narrowly escaped both of them, I think gives him great credit. And quite frankly, it points to the kind of unflappable president and commander in chief we should all want.
I just remember in the war on terror, when you'd have a guy go to Yemen, go to some terror hotbed, and then fly back into this country, he'd be on a watch list. He'd be flagged.
Yeah.
You don't just go to these places and then come back and all of a sudden like, okay, this guy's been in Ukraine hanging with mobsters in the Ukrainian military, gun runners, recruiting Muslims to fight. This guy doesn't show up on anybody's radar. Oh, actually, he did, but no one said anything. How suspicious is that?
Jesse, they put me on a secret domestic terror watch list. How is this guy not put on a secret domestic terror watch list? You know, I serve in our military. I was a member of Congress for 8 years. I was a candidate running for president.
Wow.
And yet the Harris-Biden administration decided to put me on a secret domestic terror watch list, while this guy is able to apparently travel freely without federal air marshals being assigned to surveil him and his every move. And that's really what cuts to the seriousness of what we are facing. I hope we get answers to all of these questions. But the reality is that my former party and the mainstream media have spent years demonizing President Trump. I met with him for the first time in 2016. I was a member of Congress on the Foreign Affairs and Armed Services committees. 2 weeks after he was elected, he hadn't even been sworn in. I was invited to speak to him about a new direction of foreign policy, trying to block the neocons who were jockeying for position at that time. Jesse, as soon as I walked out of Trump Tower in New York City, my phone blew up with outrage and being excoriated by fellow Democrats at that time. And here was their foremost complaint. How dare you meet with Donald Trump and humanize him? They have been dehumanizing him for years, turning him into this evil Hitler-like caricature. So we should not be surprised to see their supporters take that seriously and take it upon themselves to try to take him out. That's how serious this is.
Tulsi on a watch list. But this guy with weapons of mass destruction charges hanging out with Eastern European gun dealers, not on a watch list at all. Makes total sense in the Biden-Harris administration. Tulsi, thanks as always for joining us. Johnny goes to the Trump rally.
Kamala Harris says you guys leave.
You have to connect with people. They said Bill Clinton could make you feel like you were the only one in the room. And if you were the only one in the room, he'd make you feel something else. But all presidents usually have the it factor. Does Kamala
Jesse just too funny.
have it? We'll let you be the judge. Here she is leaving the stage at the Black Journalist event where she just spent an hour with her base.
Everybody just quietly looking at her. Nobody clapped or said anything. Confused. Like, what the hell was that?
That's the look of three people who spent an hour with Kamala and realized she doesn't have it.
No.
Now compare that to the pop Trump got last night on Gutfeld.
He loves Diet Coke, but hates the woke, choosing this insanity over Sean Hannity. Quarter from Queens, New York, the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
There's an energy to Donald Trump that even CNN can't deny.
Donald Trump, he plays golf with Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah. He goes on Theo Vaughn. He talks about Zins. And, you know, Democrats, I'm sorry, like they haven't had a cool guy candidate in a while. And like, with all due respect to Tim Walz, like Tim Walz appeals to a lot of men. He also appeals to that guy, Bruce.
Yeah.
Jeff's package. He's wearing a Future is Female shirt.
Yeah.
Like that guy in Madison, Wisconsin is already going to vote Democrat. Yeah. I'm sorry. How do you reach the young men?
Yeah.
Bryson wants to be around Donald Trump. Oprah doesn't want to be around Kamala. She has to, because Kamala needs help. People like Oprah want to help Kamala. They need to help her, but Trump wants to help you because you need it. A rising tide lifts all boats. And CNN assumes if you're living the American dream, you only care about yourself.
You know, if you can afford a boat, you're not hurting so bad, right? Because a boat costs a lot of money and it's a lot of upkeep.
Listen, nobody gave me I earned everything that I've got. I'm retired military, retired power plant, and I am successful and retired and with boats, jet skis, because I did it right. And everybody has that chance. Whether they choose or not, that's up to them. I want my money to go further. I want inflation to go down. I want interest rates to go back down. I want all that, but that covers everybody in the economy. Not just me, not just the poor, not just the rich. It covers everybody.
Yeah.
CNN just admitted they don't care about the inflation that Biden-Harris caused because it's not affecting them personally. If CNN hosts have to, pony up 20% more. They can afford it. They don't care that you can't afford it. They're saying they don't care about the rest of the country. They feel the same way about Trump. Even if he's better for the whole country, his policies, if Trump makes them annoyed by the things he says, they're willing to sacrifice the whole country just to spare their own feelings. Most mature adults don't play that.
What's your most important issue?
The economy, getting the interest rates down, getting it to where we can afford to live in America. Right now, it's too expensive.
You know, if you can afford a boat, you're not hurting so bad, right? Because a boat costs a lot of money and it's a lot of upkeep.
Listen, nobody gave me. I earned everything that I've got. I'm retired military, retired power plant, and I am successful and retired and with boats, jet skis, because I did it right. And everybody has that chance. Whether they choose or not, that's up to them. Because I want my money to go further. I want inflation to go down. I want interest rates to go back down. I want all that. But that covers everybody in the economy. Not just me, not just the poor, not just the rich. It covers everybody.
Excuse us, we didn't mean to play that soundbite twice, but I enjoyed it because I loved watching that man. Kamala's campaign theme is joy, but joy doesn't make you able to afford your dream house. You can't put 20% down of joy and just move in. Kamala can't compete if she doesn't talk policy.
Black journalists today at the NABJ pressed Vice President Kamala Harris on policies from guns to the war in Gaza, but many of her answers lacked specifics.
Every single policy question she got at the debate, she totally ignored and never answered it.
Well,
why is it that she believes she does not have to answer to journalists who are asking pretty basic questions?
But Hillary Clinton has a different strategy. No policy, no problem.
Sometimes I'm asked, well, where is the policy? Well, go to the website. That's where the policy is. You know, I had more policy than anybody had. I gave speeches about it. It was on our website. I wrote a book with Jim Kaine about it. We have lots of policy. At the end of the day, that's not what caused people to vote for me.
The media are all covering for Kamala Harris, and just they need to convince you to vote for her because she can't seem to do it, in my opinion.
Or against me. And I think the Harris campaign knows that.
More excuses from Hillary. She lost and she still has no idea why she lost. She still thinks the Russians stole the election and thinks America's sexist. Here's Hillary saying Kamala should.
Hold on while I set this up.
It's a double standard, and it's a double standard that is partly because they are still getting to know her, but also because they're still grappling with the idea like, oh, am I really going to vote for a woman to be president and commander-in-chief?
American Majority founder and author of American Leviathan, Ned Ryan. Ryan, let's get to Hillary in a second because I know you're chomping at the bit. Tell me about the American dream. That woman wanted to know, well, what? You can afford a boat. Why do you care that prices are up in America?
Jesse, thank you so much for that great question. You know, I was raised as a middle-class kid. I have neighbors that love their lawns. And, you know, I have dreams and hopes and aspirations, too.
Yeah. I know. It's
I'm a little fuzzy on those details.
Right. It's like the details don't matter. And if you ask for details, you're just sexist because you wouldn't ask those details from a man.
But the fact of the matter is there are no details, and that's for a reason. First of all, Kamala lacks the substance. She lacks the ability to communicate them. She communicates on the level of a elementary school kid. And I'm not talking sixth grader, probably like third grade, with apologies to all third graders out there. But Jesse, if she didn't have her word salads about space and about yellow buses and about being unburdened, do you really want her out there, if you're a Democrat, explaining in fine detail her policies on the Soviet-style price controls that she wants?
No, I mean,
no, they don't want her out there talking about that. They want to keep her under wraps, and I think this is a strategy. They need to keep her kind of in the background a little bit on these policy ideas. Let the corporate propagandists essentially run the campaign. Keep that joy blitzkrieg going. Gaslight the American people that somehow Kamala is a new, fresh face, instead of the incumbent VP whose administration has been destroying this country economically, on immigration, on virtually every front for the last 4 years. That's the play the next 47 days.
That's crazy. You know, they're working their best. Make sure to keep her out of the light, out of media, out of questions.
Do you see any joy in the faces of those black journalists that spent an hour with her? She left and no one clapped.
It looked like a scene from Parks and Recreation. It looked like they felt like they had been played. The looks that they exchanged with each other, I felt like you should have played the Parks and Recreation music.
We'll slip that in next time in post. Ned Ryan, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, I'm going to leave it there, and let me wrap this video up. If you enjoyed it, you got a lot of information out of the video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, okay? Kamala Harris it seems to be imploding her campaign because it's all about the narrative and convincing you that she has everything on lock, that she knows what she's doing. But it's not working because it's not so much her convincing you, it's the media doing all the heavy lifting, doing all the work. And all she got to do is show up and laugh and smile and say maybe a few words that don't really mean anything. So she comes off as an empty vessel. It is really scary because it goes to show that she won't be the one running the country. You know, the administrative state, the deep state, they're the ones that are going to be calling all the shots and doing everything. But that's in my opinion. And one way to prove to you that it works is that it's working now. You know, we got the current president. It doesn't seem to know what the hell he's doing, or probably doesn't even have to show up because we all know that he has some cognitive problems, but yet the country works. So if it works under him, it's going to work under her. Those people who are running this company, the USA, they got this. So vote them in or vote for somebody who's going to have a decision and going to have a say. In my opinion, Trump 2024. Now, let me try to switch the tab, see if this works. And it seems to work. Check out this commercial by Kamala Harris, which I think is hilarious.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
There goes the classic Kamala Harris laugh. But that was AI making fun of Kamala Harris. It's funny, but it sort of rings true. So it makes you think, are we really going to experience her doing all of this? But let me know, comment below. Make sure to give this video a like. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. But that last one right there, Kamala Harris advertisement, it's a joke, but it's a lot of truth in jokes.
Verbal or life.